Breaking news to start this week's Chess Center as FIDE Master Mike Klein reports at Chess.com/news. FIDE and Aegon have confirmed their intentions to rotate the World Championship match around New York City, taking place at 12 different iconic Big Apple locations. FIDE Master Kostya Kavutsky released a video exclusive to subscribers of our YouTube channel showing you just how to lose like a world champion. And in a surprising move, Disney has purchased the rights to tell the story of Anish Giri's legendary performance in Moskva, 14 draws. The early expected title of the movie is Too Cute to Lose. And finally, Kirsan Ilyumzhinov, after resuming talks with his alien leaders, has stated that the United States Treasury Department no longer holds any power on planet Earth and that he intends to resume his role as the fearless leader of FIDE. Chess Center taking over for Sports Center on ESPN momentarily. One moment. Okay. Oh, you're telling me, so that was all because it was April 1st. So you want me to run it back? No, I don't mind. Okay, we'll run it back. Sergei Karyakin wins the candidates tournament in Moskva and will challenge Magnus Carlsen for the world title come November. But what are his chances? We ask many chess experts and online personalities to weigh in on the topic. The GM Blitz Battle Championship is getting set to start on April 6th with Grishik taking on Aronian. Wait till you see me and Robert Hess's last-minute preview. And of course, it's that time of the month. We take a look back at the best and worst moments of March, the moments that you wish you had missed, and the moments you wish you hadn't seen at all. It's Chess Center. If it was good enough for Paul Morphy and Mikkel Tal to watch right before they played every unsound sacrifice in their career, it should be good enough for you.
Well, Danny, our surprise of this episode is that not more than 1 week after we complained about how dry these press conferences were, we get this absolute gem of a press conference between Levon Aronian and Hikaru Nakamura.
Yeah, Sean, it was absolutely a breath of fresh air to see both of these guys not only sort of burying the hatchet and not holding a grudge regarding the controversy that took place. Everyone knows what happened with the Zhidub claim and that there were some words exchanged. But both of these guys had their walls were down. They were both humble, honest, and honestly, it was almost a little heartbreaking as David Smearden really depicted well in his blog where he talked about the top 5 moments of the candidates and his little wrap-up. And if you don't read David Smearden's blog on Chess.com, that's a you problem. But he really just said, what Zhidub? These guys just were just awesome. Levon Aronian admitting just how heartbroken and devastated he was not to win the candidates. And as I let that clip play here, Sean, I'm going to ask you, do you think this was Levon Aronian's best chance, or dare I say last chance, to get to the world title match and battle Magnus Carlsen?
Well, I think he's afraid of that. You know, he was number 2 in the world for so long, and his place has been slipping. But honestly, I think he underestimates himself. I expect for him to make at least 2 more good runs in the rest of his career. So this is definitely not the last we've seen of Levon Aronian as a championship contender.
Well, I encourage everybody to check out that post-game press conference, only 11 minutes long if you have the time to watch it in full, and just see what these press conferences are capable of being when the players do have their guards down and the emotional questions are asked, and the players really get all the credit for that, for making it kind of a thrilling thing to watch. And the game, of course, was interesting, but our surprise of the week is a good one, and we look forward to more press conferences like this in the future. Welcoming home Peter Dockers to Amsterdam, fresh off the flight from Moskva. Peter, the candidates is over. What will you do with yourself now?
Yeah, well, I don't know, man. I just got back from an amazing candidates tournament. I was very happy to witness history being made there. Of course, Sergei Karyakin won the tournament with a very nice rook sacrifice, actually, in that very last game against Fabiano Caruana. And we have a short clip with Karyakin talking about that specific moment.
Well, I mean, the sacrifice is not so difficult. When I found it, I was very happy because I realized that I will win this game probably, and I was just very happy and not thinking too much about other things.
Well, at the closing, he must have felt much more. There were anthems, the Russian, the national anthem and the FIDE anthem, and he got several prizes actually. Of course, he won the €95,000 first prize and some other stuff. So it was a very happy evening for Karyakin.
Well, let me speak to that, because I understand he won a BMW, but then later maybe not. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, that was a bit strange, actually. There was a representative of BMW on the stage. He gave him a toy BMW, but said that a real one was waiting for him outside. And everyone basically guessed that Karyakin was given a very nice, a very big gift. But it was not mentioned during that speech that Karyakin was only to use it for 1 month. So, yeah.
So a little bit on loan, I guess. That's a little bit of a strange way to give a gift like that, but okay. Looking to the future, he will be playing Magnus Carlsen in November. Did he have any words about how he will prepare for that?
He hasn't said much yet about that match, but what was very interesting was in an interview today in the Frankfurter Allgemeine, he mentioned that an interesting and a logical addition to his team might be Vladimir Kramnik. And what's very nice is that Kramnik actually called Karyakin soon after he had won the tournament. And he said, Sergey, tonight you can celebrate. Tomorrow you have to start preparing.
Wow, well, those are powerful words, of course, coming from a former world champion. Wonder what Magnus Carlsen's camp thinks of that. But okay, before I let you go, I have to ask, I know many players had comments on the fact that they didn't win, including Fabiano Caruana, Vishy Anand, but the strongest, most emotional words came from Levon Aronian.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe also the biggest pressure was on his shoulders because the sponsor was from Armenia. That's why he got the wild card to play in Moscow. And every day, lots of Armenian spectators were in the venue. And yeah, his words when he missed the first place basically were, honestly, I'm heartbroken. The amount of work you put in to get a position where you're playing well and you get good positions, and just to ruin them like this, of course, this is my own personal tragedy. I'll have to live with that. So yeah, some tough words from one of the 7 losers here. And but as we know, only one can win.
Yeah, very sad. Your heart goes out to him, although we expect he'll probably have another chance. Peter, you, of course, will have another chance to cover more major chess events this year. We appreciate all your coverage and video interviews from on site, and we wish you well.
All right, Danny. See you.
Well, it shouldn't surprise many fans of both ChessCenter and the chess world at large. The game that we picked for Move of the Week this week, of course, it was the move that punched Sergei Karyakin's ticket to New York in November for a chance to compete for the World Championship title. I actually caught some flack from our YouTube fans in the comments for not giving this move enough detailed love in all of the video highlight recaps that I did after each round. So, Robert, we're going to let you hopefully make up for my mistake and show everybody why this brilliant move by Sergei Karyakin was the rook sacrifice heard around the world.
Yeah, well, that's why Chess.com pays me, Danny, is to help out when you make blunders and all sorts of different mistakes. So here I am making sure that everything's all right. But no, look no further than move. Rook takes d5, a fantastic rook sacrifice. If not for that move, black was up a pawn, and it was difficult for Karyakin. So rook takes d5, forces e takes d5, and after queen takes d5, you're threatening checkmate on d7. There are 2 main options. Black can try f5, which Caruana did not play, but queen d7 check, king runs to f6, and rook d6 check scoops up the queen, and in the game it will definitely end in Karyakin's favor anyway. So instead of this variation, you know, queen to c7, defending the d7 square, and the precise move queen f5 threatens queen h7 check with disastrous effect, and also occupies the d7 square. So a fantastic sacrifice by Karyakin in a really difficult spot, but he proved why he should be the challenger for Magnus Carlsen.
Yeah, and to show everybody exactly the moves Fabiano played, just to finish it off, rook f7, bishop takes f7. Of course, that bishop is poisoned because of the queen h7 skewer that Robert already highlighted. And then the mating attack continued, and Fabiano threw in the towel. So definitely a tough situation for Caruana to be in the last round, but still Sergei Karyakin gets all the credit for finding the most timely moves, the most practical approaches in every game, and for ultimately punching his ticket to New York. Bringing in FIDE Master Mike Klein. Mike, I know you're excited about your Tar Heels, but there's more than one Final Four going on this weekend. So can we keep it focused on the chess, please?
We'll try, Danny. I'm going to have a split screen going on. The Final Four of college chess is also this weekend. 4 teams qualified back at the Pan American Championships in December. Those 4 colleges are Texas Tech, which won the Pan Ams, you remember, UT Rio Grande Valley, Columbia University, and Ivy represented, and also the vaunted Webster A team. Now, actually, the B team qualified, but the rules say that you can substitute any players you want. So Webster is sending the A team. Well, okay, no Mr. T, but I pity the fool that has to play this team. 5 of their 6 players are north of 2,600 FIDE. Nobody on Columbia is even above 2,400 FIDE. So it's going to be a little bit tough, a little bit of a mismatch there. But it is a round robin, and Texas Tech will get a chance to finally dethrone Webster, which just keeps winning year after year.
It's just amazing to see that list of strong players, the Webster A or B team. I'd be frightened to play either. Speaking of strong players, give us an update on what went down at the Grenke Open. Not the Classic, the Open.
That's right, Danny. The first ever time Grenke has had an Open, and boy, was it well represented. Over 500 players, 26 of them were north of 2,600, and a surprise winner, German Grandmaster Matthias Bluebaum, who's just barely above 2,600. He beat out many other players, including Vityugov, Fedosiev, Li Chao, Kamsky was there, Bakro was there. In fact, in the second to last round, he beat Shirov as black, which was the key game that got Bluebaum the victory.
Wow, that is an impressive ring to add to your finger winning that tournament. Now, speaking of winning a tournament, last time we talked last week, we were talking about who was going to win the Norway qualifier to join all the Super Grandmasters. Give us the update on how that tournament went down.
That's right, Danny. I've got a full report on chess.com/news, but for the first time ever, a Norwegian did not qualify in the qualification spot for Norway chess. It was a Swede. That's right, their cross-town, or I guess you could say cross-border rival. That would be Swedish number 1, Niels Grandelius. He basically just dominated the field. It was part classic, part rapid. He went 2 wins and 1 loss in both sections, including beating top-seeded John Ludwig Hammer in both sections. Hammer was trying to qualify for the 3rd time, but that was not to be. So Grandelius, the very first Swede to ever qualify. And if you want a full breakdown of how Carlsen usually plays against the Swedes, you can look at my news article. I go down the list and show him every single performance he's had recently against the Swedish team.
Well, great reporting on that event, Mike. Of course, we're a little bit heartbroken for Hammer. He's a friend of ours at Chess.com, but I can say that he'll do a great job covering it on Norway's TV too, and actually has some special coverage coming our way as far as how he follows events that Magnus Carlsen plays in, so people should look out for that. Mike, we'll look out for more news from you, of course, next week, and I will see you in just a few segments at Time Trouble.
As Carlsen says, tusen tak, Danny.
Well, Sean, here's what everyone's talking about this week in the world of chess social media. The buzz is about an interesting documentary video that came across our desk depicting the life and times of the Chess Bras, a group started by Grandmaster Eric Hansen of a bunch of really young, very talented Grandmasters and International Masters just playing chess online and having a ball. When you look at this documentary film, Sean, do you feel it does the goal of popularizing chess players and the lives they lead in the online world these days justice?
Yeah, absolutely. It's clear the internet has breathed new life into chess, into this 2,000-year-old game. It's clear that this game is adaptable and is moving on to the next level. And it's really nice to see a documentary that kind of captures that process in action.
Yeah, I agree. And, it really shows the Chess Bras in their best moments as well as in their worst moments. Not always PG, some curse words dropped, but hey, that's the Chess Bras, and they love what they do. They're very passionate about it. And if you ever get mad at something the Chess Bras bring, I always like to say blame Canada. And that's a shout out to my boy Eric. And we look forward to more fun videos depicting the life and times of chess players and the lives they lead in future social channel chatters. Now, Robert, it may seem harsh that we're giving Fabiano Caruana the blunder of the week for a move bishop to f2, which was the move that ultimately allowed Svidler to claim a 50-move rule draw, as Fabiano was unable to reset up this theoretically won Philidor position again. But I'm going to kick it to you as the better chess player and explain to everybody why that move really was a blunder and why it was so critical for Fabiano's entire candidates tournament, honestly, that he remember the theoretical win and find it right here, right now. What was that approach?
Yeah, Denny, I feel terrible for giving my friend Fabiano the blunder of the week, but here he had to play rook to b2. Of course, it threatens rook a2 checkmate, so black has to go rook h3, trying to swing the rook over towards the king's protection. But after the move bishop f2, it's sort of a waiting move. Black has to make a move. Rook a3, for example, will just lose immediately to rook to b8, threatening rook a8 checkmate. So king a3 is the better try, but now after rook e2, threatening bishop c5 check, and then rook back to a2 would be mate. So black is forced to move up king to a4, giving himself the protection of the rook coming to a file as well. But now rook e7, swinging the rook to the other side. If rook h5, trying to block via a5. Now, bishop to e1 is a fantastic shot. h4 is covered, a5 is covered. If black tries to run away with king to a3 and trying to escape via b2, now rook back to e2 decides the game on the spot. Once again, the h4 square is covered by the bishop. Now bishop b4 check, then followed by rook a2 checkmate is unstoppable. The game would be over.
It's just amazing how well the rook and bishop can coordinate in these endgames when it seems like what makes this position any different than other positions where you know the rook and bishop versus rook is a theoretical draw. Well, I'm going to try to give everybody some patterns to take home so that you feel like you might be able to recognize that in your own games. Probably the one thing to take away is that the king and bishop were in their ideal positions to start this. The bishop is blocking checks along the fourth rank. The bishop has the ability to come in at these timely moments and check this black king to squares that it doesn't want to be on. And as we saw in Robert's really instructive line, the bishop can get itself to diagonals that will both keep those check threats alive and stop the black rook from checking. So I'm sure that Fabiano understood all of this and knew that that was his idea when he played bishop f2 originally, but the move orders are incredibly important. It works mainly because the bishop is also right here, right now, guarding some of those escape squares that the king might have. So even, of course, it's easier for us to say than do, but not converting on this moment, in this theoretically winning position is ultimately probably the reason why we see Sergei Karyakin, the Russian, in New York and not Fabiano Caruana. Of course, no one knows what would have happened last game, but a huge game, huge turnaround. We tip our hat to Fabiano for a great tournament, but we also lower our thumb for the blunder of the week.
Well, Danny, I'm literally salivating about the upcoming showdown between Sergei Karyakin and Magnus Carlsen. That is, of course, for the World Chess Championship coming up this November in New York City. Danny, tell me what you think is going to happen.
I don't even know if we have time for me to talk about what I think is going to happen, because what I did this week, after we knew who our candidate was ask many of the regular personalities at Chess.com TV, regular contributors to our site, and just international and grandmasters in general, including some of the players in our upcoming GM Blitz Battle Championship, to get their opinion. So let me start with some well-known online personalities. International Master John Bartholomew and Grandmaster Eric Hansen of Chess Bras said they both kind of agreed, I'm paraphrasing almost all of these quotes, that if Karyakin comes well prepared in the first stage of the game, as he's shown he was able to do with the candidates, and as long as he avoids those long, grinded-out style games that Magnus is really comfortable with, that the match will be closer than people think. Sean, what's your first reaction to their opinion?
Yeah, it sounds right on. I think avoiding wars of attrition with Magnus is a good idea, but I would like to point out that Sergei's a spring chicken. So if it does get into those drawn-out contests, I don't think he'll be blown away in the same way that Vichy was. Good
point, right? Has a little bit more jump in his step, I guess. He's a younger player. They're the same age. Let's get to some more opinions here. Recent Blitz Deathmatch winner, Paco Vallejo Pons here. He said that he thinks, again, that it will be a closer match than people expect, mainly because of Karyakin's resilience. He said that he seems to have luck on his side in the endgame and feels that his practical decision-making skills and resourcefulness will make it a little bit harder for Magnus to grind it out. Simon Williams, making sort of a similar statement, said that Karyakin is the coolest cucumber in the fruit basket. I think mixing up fruit and vegetables on purpose. Simon then went on to give me some hilarious comments, making Rocky comparisons and all kinds of stuff, and really inspiring me to write up a whole article where I put all these opinions in place for people to go check out. But there we have two people giving opinions that Karyakin's nerves of steel and his resilience will really hold up well in this match. What do you feel about what he showed in the candidates in the critical moments, Sean, and do you agree with them?
I don't quite agree here. I think holding your nerves against Magnus Carlsen is completely different. You have to hold it a lot harder and for a lot longer.
Yeah, well, that's a good point, and Magnus is the best grinded-out player in the world. What do we have as far as how the media will cover Magnus Carlsen versus Sergei Karyakin? Grandmaster Alex Yermolinsky had a really interesting opinion on that, saying that he feels there will be more coverage in anticipation of this match as there was for any match besides Reykjavik 1972. He thinks that just like in Reykjavik 1972, when you had the Cold War tension, he sees Magnus Carlsen as being this huge media darling, the biggest star world chess champion maybe we've ever had. And then you have sort of the bad boy, as far as the West is concerned, the Crimea Golden Sun, the Russia-Ukraine controversy, Karyakin being a Putin supporter. So Yermo's saying that he thinks there is global intrigue regarding this match, and with it being in New York, he expects it to get a ton of coverage. Real quick, I'm also going to say that we got opinions from two very top GMs, one from Hari Krishna, Anand's countryman, also sort of alluding to a point you made earlier that he feels that Karyakin will have the energy in some of those long, drawn-out games, which will make the match a little closer, sort of directly referring to the fact that Vichy, of course, no longer in his prime in his matches with Carlsen. And then we had Maxime Vachier-Lagrave say he believes Carlsen is the clear favorite, but also thinks that Karyakin has a decent chance, more than maybe you and I gave him. With so many people saying that this match is going to be closer than people think, and with you being disappointed that your boy Levon Aronian isn't there, let me ask you, Sean, who are you rooting for, and what do you think of all this hype?
Yeah, I'm going to be rooting for Magnus. I think there should only be a few world champions per decade, so I'd like to see the current holder win. That being said, this is definitely going to be a close one. Karyakin is playing like a beast, and I think just going for Magnus because he's been the world champion before may be a mistake.
Okay, well, speaking of rooting for Magnus, the last quote I got to give is from a celebrity, but a chess enthusiast, John Urschel, the Baltimore Raven, NFL star, and kind of a celebrity in his own right because of the things he does outside of the NFL. But John gave me a quote on Twitter when I asked him, and he said that he's super excited. He appreciated Anand's effort in the candidates and was impressed by the energy the old Tiger had, but he's happy to not see Carlsen at on 3. He expects this match to be really exciting, but he feels like Carlsen is more the favorite, being the higher-rated player and having played World Championship matches before. Not many people talking about Karyakin's lack of match experience in all those quotes I gave. So an interesting point there coming from the non-chess player and John Urschel. We encourage everybody to follow all the updates leading up to this event. Of course, at chess.com/news, we plan to have monthly segments watching everything that happens between these two players. They will face off at the Norway Chess Super Final at the end of this month in April, Sean. So we're already going to have things to talk about. Karyakin versus Carlsen, we couldn't ask for more. And we will look ahead again in future segments to this match in November. Of course, before we let Grandmaster Robert Hess go on this week's Chess Center, we get to have our second Looking Ahead segment. The special segment looks at the first match of the Grandmaster Blitz Battle Championship Series taking place next week. You and I have the play-by-play, Robert. We got Grishik, reigning World Blitz champion, against Armenian #1 and rapid specialist, Levon Aronian. I know you have Levon winning this match. I have Grishik, so it means a lot for us personally. People can still fill out their brackets, of course, and make their own predictions. But tell everybody, why do you have Levon as the favorite in this matchup? And give me a little bit of a breakdown of how you see the games going specifically.
Well, Levon might have had a disappointing candidates tournament. I know he wanted to win that, but he can redeem himself a bit here on the Chess.com Grandmaster Blitz Battles. He's favored against Alexander Grishuk, in my opinion. He has a +3 score in Classical. Chess 6 wins to 3 in Aronian's favor. In Rapid, well, Grishuk has a slight edge, I believe, but they both are former World Blitz champions. And importantly, in a tight match like this, Aronian's a former 960 champion, multiple-time winner. So if it's close and it's down to 960 games, or 3 of them, 1 in each time control, I'm looking for the Armenian to pull it off.
Yeah, well, that you make a convincing argument. Makes me second guess my pick a little bit, but not because of Grishik's skill. He is the reigning World Blitz champion, and I just see him as being as psyched up and amped up as anybody. He's also the freshest player in the field. He didn't play the candidates. No emotional hangover for him. I look for him to come out guns blazing and to take down Aronian in this match. Fans, you let us know who you think is going to win. It's not too late to fill out your bracket. The article can be found by username Pete at chess.com. Of course, the winning brackets win all kinds of stuff like premium memberships. Let us know and watch the shows live at twitch.tv/chess, chess.com TV, and first time ever in multiple languages. We have a Russian broadcast. We have a French language broadcast. It's going to be awesome. Robert and I can't wait. We will see you on Wednesday, April 6th. Oh, Sean, it's that exciting moment where we get to take a look back at the last month of chess and count down the best and worst moments, at least as far as how we see it. Are you ready to take a look back?
I'm not ready at all, Danny.
All right, well, jump in the DeLorean anyway and kick things off for us with the number 5 best moment from the month of March.
The number 5 best moment from the month of March is that we now know where the World Championships will be held. It will be in New York City. I can't wait to go there and see the Big Apple and the game.
Yeah, and let's hope it stays that way, right? You never know sometimes with FIDE, but I won't cast aspersions. I'll move on to number 4, where Vallejo Pons took down Ruslan Ponomarev in a death match where he was not the favorite. He won in overtime in one of the most exciting Blitz death matches we've had in a long time. So Vallejo, thank you, Paco, for taking care of business and giving us an exciting show.
Number 3 goes to Abhijit Gupta for his stellar performance, 8.5 out of 10 in the Reykjavik Open. Up-and-coming GM from India.
And in any other month, the number 2 best moment would have been number 1, of course, with Ho Yifan winning the Women's World Championship, taking back her throne. Obviously, she is the strongest female chess player on the planet. Pretty much, it's not even close right now. And if it weren't for this other small little event taking place in Moscow, Ho Yifan would have been our top moment. But Sean?
Yeah, number 1 has got to go to Karyakin for winning the candidates tournament, seemingly out of nowhere. No one saw this coming. I never saw this predicted in any major news source. So congratulations, Karyakin, for taking our number 1 spot.
Yeah, and from everything I've heard now from top players, I guess more of them saw it coming than you and I did. Karyakin showed nerves of steel. We'll see what happens in his battle with Magnus Carlsen, but that's for the looking ahead segment. And now we're back, unfortunately, to look at the not-so-great moments that happened in the chess world over this last month. And we're going to start things off at number 5, as Mike Klein and I reported in other news that the legendary Grandmaster William Lombardi, was about to be evicted. I actually don't know the exciting conclusion of that story. Hopefully it was a good one, with Lombardi safely resting with a roof over his head.
For number 4, it goes to Secretary Clinton. Hillary, I'm going to have to ask you to step up your game. I need you to be able to recognize all of the top American GMs. That should be very easy. Just memorize Irina Krush's face going forward.
Or at least all the top female GMs, right? I mean, if she's changing things for women, you got to know other women doing the same thing. Now, number 3, we're going to have to give to Hikaru Nakamura for his Jadub accident, an accident that may have actually, in the end, cost him more in the candidates than people realize, as he started playing very well at the final half of the tournament. So Hikaru gets our number 3 worst moment for the Jadub word heard around the world.
Number 2 goes to artificial intelligence for defeating us at Go, leaving human beings with no recourse but the game of war.
And finally, the top moment has to go to Aegon for the last minute and very untransparent announcement of the live move transmission blocking. I think there are definitely split opinions on both sides of this, so I'm not here to debate the philosophy of what's the best for chess, but I can definitely say that we'd all like a little bit more notice, a little bit more transparency in what the process will be when the top organization and company who's running these World Chess Championship tournaments and all the qualifiers into it, what their decisions are going to be, so that everyone has a little more time to react and not this last-minute shenanigans of blocking moves. Tickety-tock, Mike's afraid of the big bad clock. Mike, are you ready?
Let's do it, Danny. Now, as you know, Norway shares a land border with Russia, but do you think Aegon was hoping an American would qualify?
I think secretly they probably were, though they never admit it. Let's just hope it stays in New York as promised.
Yes.
I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I also don't want to wake up with a horse's head in my bed. What's the future for Veselin Topalov?
It's a good question, Danny. I can't see him playing in more candidates like Anand has, and nor can I see him playing in every Open around the world like Kamsky. So I think Topalov's going to have to forge his own path. What do you think about Aronian, though? Was this the last chance he had for a World Championship match?
You know, I know he's sad. He had a ton of support from Armenia and the sponsors being the wild card, but with that came a ton of pressure. But I think Levon should keep his head up. I think he has more chances in him. Now, are the countries expected to be leading the Asian Nations Cup?
Yes, they are, Danny. This is kind of like the Olympiad, but only for Asian nations. As you might expect, China far and away the 1 seed, India the 2 seed. After 4 rounds, India has dropped 1 draw, surprisingly, to Mongolia, but India and China meet up in round 5. That's going to go a long way to determine the winner.
Yeah.
What about Smurfo's blog, where he details the top 5 moments of the candidates match? Do you agree with Grandmaster Smirden on that one?
It was a phenomenal blog. Everyone knows that David Smirden does some great stuff. The only one I kind of took exception to was saying that Geary didn't deserve any flack for drawing all those games. It was all in good fun anyway, and I think he did deserve some flack for not converting. But staying on the subject of Geary, he at least had humor about the topic himself when in the last press conference of the tournament, he said he only wanted to be asked questions about these drawing and the string of draws in funny puns. So I got to ask you, Mike, you got any good funny puns for Geary?
I've been thinking long and hard on this one, Danny and Anish. I hope to get your approval. I'm going with the Moscow Chain Draw Massacre.
Wait, you just make that up right now?
Just right now, Danny.
Okay, that wasn't even a list of them. I like it. I love it. Originality, Anish. Let us know in the comments here if you approve, because we know you watch ChessCenter secretly. Mike, I know you got some fantasy baseball stuff to get back to secretly. Good luck to your Tar Heels this weekend.
You know it. Thanks, Danny.